One. Hello, Jimjamatic here. Welcome to a brand new episode of Robot Wars episode reviews. We are on the Northern Annihilator, where only half the robots could maybe be considered Northern. Yay! But in fairness, it's actually a really good Annihilator. It's one of the two Annihilators, as far as I'm aware, that actually follows the Annihilator rules, which is also really great, because when you have robots not able to compete because they just break down or something, it can get a bit annoying. But joining me, it is Alexthehunted.
Have you got a Shreemek? Of course we have.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
Now that I know that you hate that song, it's going to be the bane of your existence.
Just like Twister. Twister. And Alexthehunted was going to be joining us, but schedules get in the way and all that kind of stuff. So instead, Mystrsykoh2 is joining us.
Now that song's stuck in my head. Get it out!
It'll never leave. You may think it's left, and then it'll just come out of nowhere.
Thankfully, that episode's the only time you ever hear the song.
That is true. That is legitimately the only good thing. But enough about terrible Plunderbird songs. More about awesome Annihilators, because this is one of my favourite of the specials in terms of the Series 4 ones, because it's actually, I think,
the Annihilator's my favourite format, my favourite side event actually.
Because it's just put 6 robots in and just see what happens.
You get 6 robots. It's not like it. I mean, I do like a BattleBots Rumble as well, but it's kind of a case of what I think makes an Annihilator slightly better is the fact that it's more of a test of endurance because it's not just one big fight.
Yeah,
you've got to. I think they've given like an hour in between fights to repair because they deliberately made it so you couldn't just completely rebuild your robot in between fights. It was a genuine test of robot endurance.
Pretty much. And they called us the Northern Annihilator because apparently they're all supposed to be from the north, but I'd like to really contest this, because as far as I'm aware, there's really only like maybe 2 borderline 3 robots that actually could be considered north in this entire thing. I mean, obviously we'll go very briefly.
The robot that won it was from the north.
Okay, that at least was very good, but yeah. I mean, who do we have? We just briefly, obviously, we have Chaos 2. Ipswich is not north, so that is that's like near London, isn't it? Ipswich. So yeah. So that's nowhere near.
I think
the
what
north.
they meant by north is anywhere not London.
That's a very loose definition of north, because I'd say it's around Chester onwards.
It's how the British government see it anyway.
True, but yeah, Chaos 2, reigning champions. You won't believe it by watching the performance. Honestly, I mean, it didn't do terribly, but
this is the thing with Annihilators, and you'll see. And you'll see, like with later ones, Michael see later on, is like if you're like the big, well-known robot, you have a huge target on your back.
It's true because everyone sees you as the most powerful, so they want to take you out as soon as possible. So they've got less chance of winning.
Also, so they could say that they took out that robot. Like there's even in the first Annihilator Extreme, there's 2 teams that fight out. Oh no, we're the ones who took out this robot.
Actually, there are 2 teams in this Annihilator that actually want to have revenge on Chaos too.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, obviously Stinger. Again, Lincoln is sort of north. I mean, it's more north than Ipswich. Definitely, I would say it's definitely apart from Manchester, Spikesaurus, probably the most northern of the teams. I mean, Lincoln could be considered north, maybe.
It's amazing to think that the 2 grand finalists go out in the first 2 rounds.
That's true. That is a problem. That is the thing about Annihilators, though. Again, if you know, either bad luck or being in the case of Stinger, I wouldn't say they were an easy target. They were just more a case of they just outnumbered. And just outnumbered by the amount of other more maneuverable and more well-driven robots than Stinger, probably, considering there's just a mass of robots in one area. But who do we have next? Then obviously we have Suicidal Tendencies next. Obviously. I'm trying to think, is that North Derby? Yeah, Derby's sort of Midlands, isn't it? But yeah, it's again.
I agree with Mike when he says this is the weakest robot in the Annihilator.
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, it didn't. I mean, it did a few cool things in this Annihilator, but it mostly stayed in the background like Stinger did.
I don't think the axe even came to ever. I don't even think the axe was even attached in this Annihilator because I never saw it.
I don't. I remember. I swear I saw it once being used. I don't know. That could be just me. I don't know. It's not the greatest axe in the world anyway. So I don't know.
Isn't that an understatement?
Yeah, the toothpick's at.
I think it is literally spring-loaded. It's a spring-loaded axe.
Although the forks actually just come into play. We'll get into the first round, and they actually did quite an impressive number on a certain robot. Then we have Kilohertz again. Oxford is not the North.
Kilohertz got their shit kicked out of it in the Annihilator.
And they still came third.
Every round they got their shit absolutely kicked out of them.
I know I was surprised at how durable Kilohertz was, because I've not seen it as a robot that can. I mean, I think twice in this Annihilator it got stuck in forward drive at some point. And it got flipped over all the time. It got burnt. It got axed. It got everything happened to it, but it still managed to survive to the third position. So I'll give them credit. They actually did manage to survive in the amount of crap that was thrown at them. I mean, nothing. I think every robot at apart from maybe Stinger, I think every robot at some point had a little piece of Kilohertz.
Yeah.
Then we obviously have Dominator 2. Very unlucky not to win this one, in all honesty.
Yeah, that's an understatement. If
very
you actually look in the Robot Wars guidebook, like one of the Robot Wars guidebooks it has for the Dominator 2 page, it says worst moment. Is the losing to Spikosaurus in the Annihilator.
Yeah, because I mean, it's unfortunate because there's like a couple of there's like 2 or 3 robots that have never won an award that always feel bad. It's Dominator 2, Firestorm, and Hypnodisc.
Firestorm's won something. Firestorm won the European.
Hypnodisc and Dominator 2 then. 2 robots that are very prominent in the series but have never actually managed to win an award, and this is the closest they got to winning something, and it went...
Actually, no, because Hypnodisc technically won something because it won the most original entry in Series 3. That counts.
Counts at least. Okay, so yeah, Dominator, poor old Dominator 2.
We're stretching things a bit there.
Yeah, but Dominator 2 hasn't won any kind of award.
And Dominator's been nominated for the best engineered robot 3 times and it never won it.
Ironically, I think they actually one of the robots that won it one year, they actually beat.
Yeah,
which is pretty hilarious. But it's like, god damn it, they can't even win an award that they get 3 times nominated for. But yeah, Dominator 2 always seems to have a bit of bad luck going on to them whenever they appear. Not as bad as something like Behemoth. I think it's just built up their bad luck over time and just pans it out every series in a little piece. But of course, the shocker was obviously Spikosaurus, the robot that got very unlucky in their heat not to get past the first round. I mean, the closest, arguably, obviously, with the Rambot one, a closest first round battle, and it's just... I love the fact they were always constantly in the action. Like they got axed to shit as well. Like they got crumpled by Sir Killalot at one point. They just especially in the final.
Spikosaurus is absolutely wrecked at the end of at the end of it.
There's a picture of it on the wiki after Series 4, and it just looks like it's been like bricks have been thrown at it. It's just completely caved in at one part. It looks like it's a robot that's clearly been through shit. And as I said, in the heat as well, because actually I think coincidentally us 3 were also doing that heat as well. It's a shame it never appeared again or never entered again. Because
I think it might have just been like, well, we won something, let's just quit. Let's quit while we're ahead.
Yeah, at least they technically ended one of the few robots like Ultor that ended on a win.
Yeah.
So it's not the worst thing to do. I guess ending on a win's better than ending on a massive loss or something like what some robots have done. But yeah, those are our 6 competitors, and obviously going through this round by round, and the craziest round has to be the first round, because everyone wants to have a go at everybody. There's 6 robots in the arena, different types of weapons. You've got axes, you've got flippers, you've got spikes, you've got maces, you name it. And
this is my favourite battle of Series 4.
It is in my top 3. I mean... Where to begin? I mean, right off the bat, Suicidal Tendencies managed to flip over Dominator 2 with the spikes. I was very surprised about that. That took me by surprise. I forgot that happened. It just went straight. I mean, Dominator made itself right at least, but
yeah.
And
but it's just, and I don't know how long this fight went on for, because I know the fight limit's only supposed to be 5 minutes, but it felt like it went on longer. I don't know if that was editing. It was because there's so much shit happening.
I don't know. It's one of those battles I just don't know where to begin with. I mean, Kilohertz got the shit kicked out of it multiple times, mostly by Dominator 2 and Chaos 2 really taking them. Stinger didn't really do much in this battle. It just kind of hung around in the sidelines for the most part.
It did like it did in its qualifying in the opening round. So it was just hanging out in the background and just only coming in every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, Spikosaurus and Suicidal Tendencies had a few moments and stuff, but I just didn't remember I don't remember seeing any Stinger doing anything. Didn't even get attacked.
There's only
really.
one moment I remember is just Jonathan laughing as he just sees Stinger just driving around in the background.
I mean, I think hands down, Dominator 2 and I think the main players were Dominator 2, Kilohertz, and Chaos 2 just constantly.
Mhm.
They were the three. They were the ones who were basically taking the most brunt. And unfortunately, in the end, Chaos 2 ended up taking. I mean,
Chaos 2. There's no. I mean, even though it's not like they got beaten up.
I mean, they were smoking at one point. That wasn't CO2. That was proper something electronics going wrong. I mean, it was.
Well, I'm just saying, they were basically stuck in the corner and just everyone just went, okay, get it.
Yeah, because like Kilohertz finally got to go at it. I loved that one bit that made me laugh the most is when Kilohertz got stuck inside Spigosaurus, and Spigosaurus just like spun it round in like circles because they like help.
Spigosaurus got stuck in suicidal tendencies.
Yeah, I think Spigosaurus has got stuck in every robot at some point. It's got like a spike or something because it just like Dominator 2 gets stuck in everything. I think Kilohertz got the most stuck in most things. I mean, I just love like Spigosaurus is like, get it off me. Right, suicidal tendencies got stuck. Stinger really again.
Yeah, so actually, if you look at that fight, Spigosaurus got right into suicidal tendencies so much that they broke the left track.
Yeah,
the track that they were stuck in.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, probably the reason why Chaos 2 lost is because they got a bit too stuck in and let the axes take advantage of them. I mean, the axes. I mean,
well, if you can see, like they had 3 axes dig into them, wasn't it? It was Shunt, Kilohertz, and Dominator. Like Dominator got the axe and just ripped the back panel off like a trophy. It was just.
Yeah.
It was
If ever there was a fight that advertises never to bring plastic armor to Robot Wars ever again, it's this one.
Hands down. I mean, even Suicidal Tendencies had a few problems with the plastic on the top of it as well, and Kilohertz as well. It's just
Kilohertz. Yeah. I mean, Spikosaurus was embedded in Suicidal Tendencies for like this whole first round.
Yeah, if it wasn't Kilohertz, it was Suicidal Tendencies stuck inside them. But like.
Because it's polycarbonate, and polycarbonate is bulletproof, and that's basically what it's supposed to do is if something gets in it, it can't get out, basically.
Yeah.
It's supposed to stick stuff into it.
It doesn't help that the axes in this Annihilator are like very needle-like and very thin, so they tend to have problems getting out of robots as well, like Shunt or something. But
like I'm just saying, like the moment when Chaos 2 got ganged up on, it was like in a zombie movie when there's one guy just gets hoarded on by the zombie horde.
Yeah.
Like they're just ripping bits and pieces off of it.
It's almost like if you throw food like to a bunch of pigeons and they all just fight over the food, or seagulls or something. It was just
you could have just had Chaos 2 just going choke on it.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. I mean, it's weird how there's actually quite a lot of rivals. I mean, Kilohertz and Stinger want revenge against Chaos 2, and Spikosaurus wants revenge against Stinger. It's like, and Suicidal Tendencies are like, and Dominator 2 like, I've got no beefs with anybody.
Well, Kilohertz has got beef with Chaos 2.
No, I said they got Chaos. I'm saying that Dominator 2 and Suicidal Tendencies are like, we haven't really got any enemies here.
We haven't fought enemies,
Yeah. I mean, in the end, Spikosaurus. I mean, actually, it's funny how Dominator 2 really was one that took out Stinger later on, but yeah, Chaos 2. Yeah, they got kind of axed to death. 3 axes in them. They started smoking, and the reigning champion's out. It was almost as bad. It was almost as bad as in the World Championship where Razor just poked right into the back of them and broke the CO2.
And there was no pit to commit suicide in, so they just had to sit and watch the 2-time champion machine just get the shit kicked out of it.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie, it was very fun battle. And again, one of the best battles of the series, just for how crazy it is alone, and just how much shit goes on. And basically, you can't contain how much randomness happens in this battle.
This fight also kind of demonstrates. I mean, I know we make fun of Jonathan Pierce, but this kind of fight shows how good he is as a commentator, because he is so good when it comes to having to say a lot in a short amount of time.
I wouldn't be able to commentate this battle. I know that. He just has a skill for being able to say. I mean, again, not everything is a hit, he says, but you know what? When he gets into the rhythm of it, he can be really good at just saying the right stuff. And he managed to make this. He managed to say a lot concerning the fact this battle was just a clusterfuck of mini battles happening at the same time, and different robots taking heat and all that, and it was mental.
When he sums it up perfectly with the first lines he says of the first battle, which is, "This is going to be chaos. Good luck, everyone."
No pun intended.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the end, Chaos 2 ends up being eliminated, axed to death. Not a relatively slow and painful end as well, especially with axes. But yeah, turn into Swiss cheese and smoking. So they with them eliminated. Round 2 began, and this one, I would say, while it wasn't as crazy, again a lot of it was Dominator 2 and Kilohertz again. I mean, again, I think Suicidal Tendencies did take much of quite a back package, from then on in. I mean, only its highlight was in the first round, really. It didn't really do as much the rest of the battle. And I love that one bit where Dominator 2 and Kilohertz are grabbing onto each other, and Spikosaurus is just kind of stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
It's like a standoff, an axe standoff, and Spikosaurus is just like, I don't want to be part of this. But I got to admit, Dominator 2 got a really good hit on Stinger, which also was that's the thing that ultimately eliminated them, was to that hit on the wheel.
It was Spikosaurus that got it.
No, it was actually Dominator 2, because there's actually a long shot. After Kilohertz rams into Stinger, you see a long shot, and you see Dominator 2 hit the tyre with its axe, just perfectly.
It wasn't even like a powerful hit, it was just kind of one of those little quick bouncy hits, and it just perfectly got the top of their tyre.
Like, from a distance, or even close up, it didn't look like it did anything, but then you see Stinger slowly not moving at all, like on one wheel, and it's like, see what happens.
That's Stinger's main weakness, because the wheel, the actual rubber part of the wheels, holds the aerial and also the removable link.
Yeah, it's quite a bad weakness to have when most of your robot is the weakness.
Well, it's because of the removable link rule. Is like it's got to be accessible on most easily accessible on the robot. So that's why it's usually fitted on the top of a robot. But Stinger has no top, so they have to fit it basically. It's basically the aerial and the removable link is just a big cord all the way around the wheel.
I mean, on the one time Stinger gets into the action, it loses traction on one side, and it's just. I mean, if you thought Stinger did nothing in the first round, and this round it is basically just 90% of the battle just spinning on it because it can't do anything, and it's just slowly dying.
I don't think that this is kind of the case with the Annihilator. I don't think any of the house robots came into it was deemed immobilized because it was just. Because a case of there was just so much going on, they had no idea what to look at.
Yeah. Also, I love that Killer. I mean, look how blackened Kilohertz bottom plate was after being on that pit. It was just it was barbecued.
Yeah. All of Kilohertz was barbecued.
It was the bottom panel was black though. It was just it's that kind of. That must have smelled horrible. That kind of slightly burnt plastic smell.
I mean, I know it was the Bellbot's conch and Kilohertz. But I do also like to think that after the Annihilator, John looks at the remains of Kilohertz and okay, time to build a new one.
Yeah, I think he realised this was the series to change it up. Because Kilohertz is great and all, but I mean, at the end of this battle, it did get stuck in forward drive right at the very end of the battle. It just slammed into the wall, which is not the first time Kilohertz has done this.
And I didn't notice this until Mike pointed out in his live review, but yeah, Kilohertz absolutely. Well, I don't know, but Kilohertz must have killed Bash, because he was just dead in the middle of the ring.
He did spike Bash right on the top.
Yeah.
he tried to break it up. It's like a referee in a boxing match. They try and break up and accidentally get punched themselves. That's basically what happened with Sergeant Bash. He's ref bot on Matilda, okay, I'm not going to do anything now. All right, okay, we'll leave you alone. We'll leave you all to do your own thing. And yeah,
it's not the worst that Sergeant Bash gets beaten up.
Oh no! He's had worse happen to him in previous series, honestly, especially with Panic Attack in Series 2.
And later on,
you
know which fact.
I know the one. Yeah,
yeah.
Or hell, even the big chief flipping over and having his shell fall off. Or even Wheelosaurus beating him up. Sergeant Bash is a punching bag, like Matilda. He really is, and Shunt. Those three are the most beaten up house robots. But
Matilda not so much after she gets her flak wheel.
Yeah, no, yeah. As soon as she got the flywheel, nobody touched her. But I mean, this battle wasn't as crazy as the other one. I think mainly because it was mostly just down to Kilohertz and Dominator 2 axing about, while Stinger didn't really work. So his Tendencies wasn't really doing anything. Spikosaurus was mostly the victim in this particular one. Or they did get a few good hits on Suicidal Tendencies occasionally, like some good spikes again. So they were still in the action. But as a result of that very, very good hit, which was it didn't seem initially a very good hit, but ended up proving very costly, Stinger ended up being eliminated.
He waited for the good hit and he got it.
He got the good hit, and it's a shame it was Dominator 2 and not.
Yeah.
Although Kilohertz gets a lot of good hits in this particular special.
Is this the only time Kilohertz does?
No, because Kilohertz in the World Championship against Chaos 2 broke the CO2.
And Shunt did.
Oh, was it Shunt?
Yeah.
Oh, Shunt, sorry. But yeah, the Kilohertz has got a few decent hits with his axe in the past, but it always seems to just be very like pinholes, never actually kind of damaging hits. But yeah, so round 3, and Suicidal Tendencies didn't again try.
Got beaten up again.
Yeah, it really got beat. I mean, it got really spiked by Spikosaurus at one point, just completely coming in, and you could see the track was sort of loosening a little bit. They were having problems with their traction like halfway through the battle. Like they were like slipping a bit, and like one of the tracks was loosening, and it wasn't having a fun time. Also, one of the forks got bent somehow. I'm not even sure how they got. I mean, it must have been how when they tried to lift something up. I think they tried to lift Kilohertz up. I think or Dominator 2, and it just ended up bending slightly. And I think because they said the battery got loose, didn't it? The lead for the battery got loose.
Yeah, that was probably something that Spikosaurus did to it. Because if you see how deep Spikosaurus got into it, and he was bashing it into the walls and stuff, then it must have, like I bet the spike must have like hooked or like just snagged on one of the wires, and when they separated, it just pulled it out. It pulled it out.
Well, Spikosaurus,
something like that. I don't know.
Well, Spikosaurus is really the only robot that damaged Suicidal Tendencies in this battle. Really, I mean, again, Kilohertz and Dominator 2 seem to be at each other constantly in this entire Annihilator.
I think it was because they were considered the 2 best axe bots, so they were just constantly trying to say like, "No, I'm the best. No, I'm the best."
It's the fact that I'm still surprised that Kilohertz managed to last this long, despite the fact it's been punched like with 100 holes by now. But
I mean, it's Kilohertz has only won 1 fight in the whole of its like actual series record in Robo Wars. In a special event, it gets the 3rd round.
Of course,
it's won 4 times.
So you broke up a sec there, Alex. But
I say it's won 4 times as many fights as it's ever done.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they made terahertz, watch all the wins fly by. For the most part, they get way more wins with terahertz than kilohertz. But yeah, this battle wasn't as interesting. It was mostly just kind of a lot of spiking again, like we've seen before. But then Suicidal Tendencies breaking down because a lead came out, and that's the way it goes, I guess.
I mean, even with kilohertz, I would say is I mean, Mike, you're probably you'll probably know this more than me with BattleBots, but I'm guessing Kilohertz was getting a bit outdated in BattleBots around about this time as well.
Yeah, probably. This was, I think, right before Kilohertz was rebuilt, because the season 3.0 of BattleBots, Kilohertz had a different mechanism for their axe. So, it had been totally rebuilt since this Annihilator and the next season of BattleBots it appeared in.
Because it appears in Series 3 and 4, and then he builds Beta for Series 5, but has to withdraw.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so round 3, Suicidal Tendencies 2 goes out. And then round 4, Kilohertz finally succumbed to all the pain it had been. I mean, straight away, almost instantly, the gas canister got broken.
It wasn't the gas canister, it was the actual piston. It was the piston.
Oh, it was the piston?
For the actual axe. The axe mechanism, yeah.
Oh, Jesus, that's even worse. Just break the weapon, why don't they? And then, yeah, I mean, it was moving really slowly in this battle, like halfway through, just not.
Yes. Saying what Mike just said about Kilohertz's mechanism being rebuilt for Series 3. That's probably why, because it got smashed in the entire.
Also,
I think all of Kilohertz got smashed in this.
Oh, the worst... Actually, the 2 worst hits was definitely, the one with Dominator 2, and Spikosaurus going straight up Kilohertz's arse with the 2 spikes. Just dug in. The
spike went all the way up to the hill.
All the way.
It was like one of those like, old torture things when you get the spike goes through someone. It was like that. It was just stuck for all that time, like ages, and then eventually the house robots somehow managed to separate them. And Kilohertz just... And I think I don't know what caused Kilohertz to get stuck in forward drive, but
it's Kilohertz, so
it's Kilohertz. Yeah.
If I had spikes rammed up my ass like that, I would be stuck in forward drive too.
Yeah, and actually, if you look at the wide shot before Kilohertz, goes flying off into middle of nowhere, like both Dominator 2 and Spikosaurus are not moving very well. They're like you can tell it's like the kind of toll of having to be in like 4 battles in a row. Like with less than about an hour in between, because like Dominator 2 was like on one side moving, and Spikosaurus was just kind of limping after Sir Killot crumpled the front. That was very nice of him. I think that must have damaged it quite badly.
I think it was just a case of like there was no other way of getting these robots apart. So yeah, it just had to feel like, well, I guess we're gonna have to just send Killot to just rip his face off.
Yeah, it was just like punishing Spikosaurus getting stuck inside. Like, I've told you not to do this. You've done this the 5th time we've done
I
this today.
say, you know when you say like these mentions like sorry sights in Robo Wars, just seeing kilohertz just like just on the front on the top wall, just sort of like slowly just it's not even like it's going quickly in forward drive. It's just limping in forward drive.
Yeah, it's a sad. There's somebody. I see Series 4 like the series of sad sights. There really is. I mean, you got Evil Weevil, you've got Firestorm, Scorpion in the previous, you had the Tag Team Terror, and you have this.
Series 5 has a few sad sights, and also extreme. Like, I'm thinking of a few, like 101 after Fluffy. That's a sad sight. Napalm after they fought. After they fought Thermidor is just lying there.
Or even seeing Behemoth and Stinger just outside the arena after Thermidor just.
That was a great sight.
Yeah.
I can't believe out of all robots, Thermidor 2 is the first robot to flip 2 robots out in the same battle.
Well, actually, that's the thing. I said, like, after that fight, Thermidor was considered like the championship favourite for Series 5.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oh, Series 5. But that's enough about Series 5. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, this battle was relatively straightforward. I mean, for the most part, Kilohertz just got one axe too many and one spike too many, and it just ended up breaking the entire robot. And it just like you could tell it was almost like it was trying to run away out of the arena, like just get me out of here. Like a dog who wants to go outside, just scratching at the door. It was like that's what the robotic equivalent was, just like stuck in forward drive. Let me out of here. They're hurting. They've got axes. Their axes. They've broken my weapon.
But still, it went out the way that Mike. The best way that Mike says it's you want to end your Robot Wars career, or any Robot Combat career with just a wrecked robot, and Kilohertz was absolutely wrecked.
And just look at the previous build of Matilda in the next Annihilator.
Yeah.
But yeah, round 4, Kilohertz clearly out of it, and the final was pretty much just Dominator 2 dominating, and then dying.
Did they actually ever say what caused it to die?
I don't think they did, because I think they
say on the wiki anyway. What caused it?
I'm just checking the wiki now. They just said in the thing they just said it died, but they don't seem to really. They haven't got an explanation.
Well, they clearly hadn't had a look at it after, because that was clearly just filmed right after the fight. They didn't have a chance to actually look at the robot.
Yes, they never actually fully explained what happened. I think it might have been like a removal link or something very minor that must have come out.
Or it could have been during the time where its batteries were still like unreliable, where they would just like short out.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird how it died, because it was just like over the pit, just kind of like
It was pushing Spikosaurus, axing the shit out of it, and it just went, okay.
I'm done now. I mean, Spikosaurus was. I mean, honestly, if that hadn't happened, it was obvious that Dominator 2 probably would have won this one, because it was just getting pounded, and Spikosaurus was losing. Was not 17 miles an hour anymore. Yeah. It was doing 5.
If you notice, with like when Spikosaurus is driving away, it is like I think like some of the bit of metal's being caught on the floor, because it's literally just hobbling along.
Yeah, it was definitely not. It was definitely a shadow of its former self in terms of its speed.
I think the whole chassis was bent and everything in it, because was it Dominator 2 and Shunt just pounding the shit out of it?
Oh, every axe pounded it at some point in this Annihilator. I mean, it still didn't. The damage from Sir Killot was sort of hastily repaired and stuff, and it did look like an absolute wreck. But
you can see it was taped up in the back.
Yeah, but to its credit, it didn't actually break down. It was just eaten up, so it might have actually survived the minutes if it might have lasted. We don't know.
That being said, it is just basically 4 wheels and a speed controller, and not saying it's only that, but
yeah, because considering they were essentially considered just the throwaway entry.
Yeah, this was considered the cannon fodder one.
Yeah, and
I've always noticed that with the Annihilators, the robot that's always considered that usually doesn't do very well in the main competition does amazingly well in the Annihilator.
It's true. I mean, it seems like a little theme. If you don't do well in the main series, you're probably going to do really well in the Annihilator. Or there might be always the better robots tend to go out really early. The favourites are the ones that obviously people like to attack first.
Well, apart from Tornado, every champion has taken part in a Annihilator, technically, if you count Roadblock in the grand final, because it was 6 robots.
Yeah, I can count the Annihilator.
I mean, all the Robot Wars Classic Series champions that take part in Annihilator, and only Razor's the one that's won it.
True. I mean, that was Razor's first, like, when its first wins, along with the pinball. Actually, it had the pinball, and it also had the World Championship and the International League.
They give Razor a award. Let's give Razor a trophy at the competition.
Yeah, I don't really count that one as much. I mean, they pretty much set it up so Razor would win that one. There's
we
no
don't
other way.
speak of the International League here.
No, we never do. There's a reason why they never did it again. But yeah, Dominator 2 died. Something must have gone with the battery or the link, or I don't know. I'm not a technical guy, so I have no idea. Something small must have gone wrong to make it die suddenly, because it wouldn't have just died on its own. It's usually a fairly reliable robot, so something very small must have happened. But yay, Spikosaurus, the only true northern robot, maybe with Link, Stinger from Lincoln, maybe, I'm not sure, but the most typical northern robot.
It's the most northern robot. It's like the most in the north robot out of all these robots.
But you can't get more northern than Manchester, I feel. Like, just one of those like really northern places. And
Newcastle.
Yeah, it was a shame that Immortalis didn't make this series, because they technically would have been eligible for the Northern Annihilator. If they, that would be hilarious.
Immortalis in the Northern Annihilator.
I would love to have seen that. Immortalis, that would have been great.
Like putting napalm into an Annihilator. Oh wait, they did.
No, they did, yeah. Oh, that's a treat, Mike. That's the second Annihilator, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds like a treat. I just got to ask: is it old napalm or is it a new napalm?
It's Napalm 2, which is basically Shadow of Napalm in a new shell.
Yeah, and also it looks more like the original Napalm, but it's like slightly smaller and black, and that's basically it's just as useless.
Because the Napalm team for Extreme and Series 5 did what Exterminator and Spawn again did. It was where they brought two robots. They brought the Series 3 Napalm and the Shadow of Napalm in a new skin.
Yeah, and both were black with it really. I mean, it was rubbish, but that's Napalm. I mean, imagine they haven't made like an absolutely brilliant robot. The best robot is the original Napalm, and that's saying something. But yeah, the Northern Annihilator is definitely my favorite of the specials overall. I mean, again, I'm not a big fan of the Celebrity Special. I really don't like the Tag Team Terror that much, besides a few fun moments. Really, so the Annihilator is okay. War Independence is pretty good, but yeah, Northern Annihilator is definitely my favourite. It's not my favourite Annihilator. My favourite Annihilator is the first one from Extreme. But this one is definitely a close second as well.
I mean, yeah, I think it's my second. I mean, the first one in Extreme, like, you've got 2 grand finalists, 3 semi-finalists, and Arnold Terminator.
Yeah, a little bit but for an introduction to the Annihilator format, this is a great introduction to it.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to the tag team one, which was kind of an iffy start or something like that, or hell, International League, they didn't do it again.
Yeah, I mean, the tag team was clearly the after series. We got the after series episode, where all the robots that entered were kind of beaten up.
I mean, just look at the pairs they came up with. That just shows you how stretching they were. Well, here they actually got... Okay, they're not all Northern, fair enough, but they actually got okay... There's not really like a really horrible robot in here. It's all... I mean, obviously there's robots that are better than others, but there's no robot that you go... Okay, apart from maybe Spikosaurus exception at first, you might think, oh yeah, these robots are all pretty decent. They're all like at least, seeded or future seeded or whatever, apart from Spikosaurus. So, which is all more surprising why Spikosaurus managed to actually end up winning this. Because it's really the only non-seeded robot here. Yeah,
it was kind of a perfect storm for Spikosaurus.
Yeah,
I mean, it was weapons that could only affect the top of the robot, which was basically hollow, and they all had polycarbonated armor to stab through.
They managed to ward off the plasma nitride-coated titanium armament of Dominator 2.
What is plasma nitride?
That's
what I want to know.
It's nitride in plasma form. I don't know.
It just sounds like a fancy word, like what the Storm 2 guys says that the wheels are coated in.
I think it's just basically like makes the metal more resistant, I believe. I've heard it before in some of my classes somewhere, but I don't know exactly.
And they also have a greased up tip.
Yeah.
Sorry, a lubed up tip. Dominator's lubed up tip. That should be a card against humanity. Dominator's lubed up back.
We already have John Reed's big pink D, so why not have Dominator 2's lubed axe? I don't know.
All right, so I just googled what plasma nitride is.
Okay.
You guys sitting down for this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a particle, I guess, that's necessary for nutrition.
All right.
So they're trying to make their robot healthy.
And he can eat it as well.
I
Afterwards.
guess, like it was literally, it almost certainly was just them throwing a bunch of technical jargon for nobody to understand.
That was basically just for when they were entering to make it sound good for the producers. It's like, ooh, it's got plasma nitride coated titanium.
Actually, I will admit though, the official picture of Dominator 2, just looking at it, it does make it look. It does look like it's made out of cardboard. It's just me.
I think that's the gold paint.
Yeah, it's probably the gold paint like makes it look kind of, and also the wheels look kind of like they look like a very small wheel you get from a pullback. So actually, apart from the axe, it looks almost like something I could like make it a little model of. But I think we're just getting off topic. But I'm talking about nitride. There we go. I think we should end this one before we start.
I know they wanted to get Kilowatt on a diet.
No, he's gained more weight, so that's not worked at the moment. unless he loses a lot of weight in Series 10, then I don't know.
Well, in fairness, it's probably a lot of muscle weight that he put on.
That's true.
True.
He's beefed up now. But yeah. So before we start giving people like lectures about nitride and stuff and Kilowatt's secret bodybuilding technique,
get your Kilowatt body workout this week.
I used to be able to lift 100 kilograms. Now I can lift more. How did I do it?
You won't believe how this guy got. You won't believe how Kilowatt got this body. Click here.
You won't believe the secrets that Matilda and Jonathan Pierce have been hiding all these years.
Robot Wars have been trying to hide this from you for years.
Learn the secrets they don't want you to know.
Roboteers, one viewer has found out this secret. Roboteers are angry. What is it? But anyway, yay. So that was a good Northern Annihilator. Out of 10,
This is a solid 9.
Yeah, it's definitely a solid 9. I mean, I can't really think of anything specifically that lets it down. I mean, unlike a lot of the Annihilators, all the rounds happen in order. You get 5 solid rounds, and it's all about endurance in the day and just a bit of luck sometimes. And
the one thing that stops it being for 10 is it doesn't have that wow, amazing moment.
Yeah, it's a lot of mini moments that kind of build up. I mean, what would you give it? What did you give it in your original review, Mike? Was it like 8, 9, something like that?
I think it was probably an 8.
8. It's pretty reasonable. Would you stick to that, or would you change it a little bit now? Looking back on it?
Yeah, I'd stick with that. It was a really solid episode all the way through.
So an 8.5 average overall. That's not too bad.
The only thing that also lets it down for me is they actually do this in later Annihilators. Is they show the teams repairing after the fight.
Yeah, I feel like that's a critical piece of context.
Yeah, they do that. Like there's some in like the way later Annihilators. I think like in the Extreme 2 Annihilator where you see like there's one team just on top of the robot with a bar trying to bend the chassis back into shape.
It gets that brutal at times. But so I'm Jimjamatic signing off.
I'm Alexthehunted, quickly going off to be a babysitter.
Yay.
And I am Mr. Psycho, wondering why hurricane rains are falling on me.
It's all nice and clear outside for me. Beautiful.
Yeah, not here. It's not.
It's been raining for like weeks now, so I feel good to have some sun. Anyway, see you all for the Southern Annihilator. Joining me for the Southern Annihilator is who's joining me? Brandon and Owain are joining me for that one. So that'll be quite cool.
They've come to join you for the funeral of Matilda.
Yes,
the original Matilda.
Yeah, the original Matilda, and then she gets a badass flywheel and nobody touches her. Apart from maybe Chaos 2, I don't know.
And Corkscrew.
Oh yeah, Corkscrew, yeah. But so see you later, folks, for the Southern Annihilator. Bye.
Bye. And I really do have to go.